Today is May 29th, which means we are just 1 week away from the next generation of Nintendo. It's so exciting. We have a lot to get into today, though, including Nintendo being at Summer Games Fest. It looks like in some way, shape, or form, the Nintendo Switch 2 will be showing up at the events. We have a new overview trailer for Mario Party Plus Jamboree TV, detailing the new modes in that game. We'll talk about that. We have a little bit more details on the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet patches for Switch 2, in terms of what they will actually do when it comes to boosting the game on that hardware. We have new updates for really all of Nintendo's mobile apps. The Nintendo Switch Online app has been updated and retitled to the Nintendo Switch app, and it is so much better than it was before. There were also smaller updates for Nintendo Today and Nintendo Music. We had a new Nintendo Switch 2 game announced. Kunitsu-Gami from Capcom is getting new content in the Nintendo Switch 2 version. We have a launch trailer and more gameplay for Fast Fusion from Shinin. And thanks to some voice actors yesterday, we basically have confirmation that Persona 4 Remake is happening, and they're replacing the entire voice cast, and people aren't happy. So that's what we're getting into today. Of course, if you are new here and you enjoy daily Nintendo Switch 2 content leading up to the launch of the console, I would very much appreciate you liking the video and subscribing. Let's get into it. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the channel. My name is Botox Games. One more week. Can you believe we actually made it? The journey is almost over. It has been so much fun covering Switch 2 over the past, 2 years, all of the speculation leading up to the reveal, and then the direct in April. And I don't know about you all, but for me, honestly, the time has really kind of flown by. Like, I know it's going to slow to a crawl now that we're in the final 7 days, or really just 6 days, because I think a lot of us will be picking it up at a midnight release next Wednesday. But man, the time has really kind of flown by, and it's starting to really sink in for me that the next generation of Nintendo is actually starting in just a little under a week now. But also, we're getting a new Mario Kart. There's all these great third-party games coming. Like, man, what a time to be alive. What a time to be a Nintendo fan. Weirdly, on social media, I feel like I haven't seen too much excitement. I do think maybe that's part and due to just all of the different little controversies surrounding this thing. But at the end of the day, we're getting a new Nintendo console next week. We're getting a new Mario Kart next week. Kind of hard not to be really excited about that. But let's go ahead and get into the news here. So first up, I wanted to discuss this. I saw a lot of people freaking out about it. Summer Games Fest tweeted out their 2025 partners round one, developers and publishers that will be at the show, be that's, in the actual presentation or at the Summer Games Fest Play Days, kind of in-person events. And people are freaking out because among all of these logos, if you can see there, you can see the Nintendo Switch 2 logo. However, what's interesting is it's the Nintendo Switch 2 logo. It's not Nintendo's logo. It is specifically the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, a lot of people are speculating that this means that Nintendo will have announcements to make next Friday at Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest event. It's crazy it's happening a day after the Switch 2 releases. I'll be streaming my reactions to it to see if anything interesting pops up, but people are taking this to mean that Nintendo will have first-party announcements at Summer Games Fest. I'm not saying it's impossible. Weirder things have happened. However, I really don't think that's what this means. I think the best expectation to have when it comes to Nintendo at SGF is, frankly, just ads. In the past, Nintendo has at times popped up at the Keighley events, specifically the Game Awards. However, they've never popped up at Summer Games Fest. So I look at this and I think, okay, we're going to have those ad breaks in between reveal trailers and on-stage moments, and one of the ads is going to be a commercial for the Switch 2. That's what I read this as. It could also just be they're expecting a lot of third-party games announced for Switch 2 here, so that's why they put the Switch 2 logo specifically and not just the Nintendo logo. If they had just put the Nintendo logo here, I'd be right there with you of like, okay, Nintendo is going to be there. But because it's the Switch 2 logo specifically, I do think that means we should temper expectations a little bit. However, I do think we will see some third-party stuff announced for Nintendo at this event. I mean, even last year, there were a couple of games like LEGO Horizon Adventures from Sony, funnily enough. That was announced for Switch at SGF last year. So I do think we'll see some stuff for Switch 2 announced at this event. I mean, just looking at the publishers and developers on here, 2K is going to be here, I presume, with Borderlands 4, so maybe we finally get a release date for that on Switch 2. Capcom is going to be here, presumably with something like Onimusha. Could we see an Onimusha port announced for Switch 2? Bandai Namco, and they could announce any number of anime games here. So I do think we'll be getting Nintendo Switch 2 news from SGF, just not necessarily from Nintendo itself. We're not going to see Kirby Air Riders here. I would love to be wrong. I just don't think that's the expectation we should set for ourselves. However, we are talking a lot about a June Direct, and Summer Games Fest is happening on Friday, June 6th, or June 7th. So we'll be getting a Nintendo Direct in this time frame anyway, right? I think within, 10 days of this event, we will be getting a Nintendo Direct. So even if SGF is light on Nintendo news, we still have a Nintendo Direct to look forward to in June at some point. So I'm going to tune into this. I will be live streaming it, like I said. We'll be checking out if there's any Switch 2 announcements here, and I do think there will be a couple things, maybe nothing massive, but then either way, even if it is a disappointment, we have the Xbox Showcase the following Sunday, which also might have some Switch 2 announcements in it, but then also that potential June Direct that I think we're all kind of expecting at this point. So let me know what you think of Nintendo popping up at SGF. Do you think they will have a meaningful presence here, or do you think it will be, like I said, just like a commercial for the Switch 2 itself? Do you think it'll be third-party games, first-party games? What do you think Nintendo has to show at the event? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Next up, let's talk about Super Mario Party plus Mario Party Jamboree TV, Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, my favorite title. It's so funny in this trailer when he has to say the entire thing.
Super Mario Party Jamboree, Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Jamboree TV.
But yeah, they released a 5-minute overview trailer showing off all of the new features that the Switch 2 version has. There's some new base Mario Party options as well. There's a 2v2 mode that I did not know about. I don't know if that was revealed beforehand, but I think that's actually a pretty great addition to the game. Mario Party Jamboree is one that I didn't put a ton of time into late last year when it released. However, I am pretty excited for this. I did go hands-on with it at the Nintendo Switch 2 hands-on event in April, and while I don't think the camera minigames, these faux Kinect minigames, are all that interesting, I will say that the mouse minigames, as I've been saying in all my videos, I love the mouse con. The mouse minigames are a lot of fun. There were a couple where you have to delete spam mail using the mouse. There's one where you have to spray paint bob-ombs with it, and then also drag them around. So almost similar to the that Mario 64 DS minigame where you sort the red and black bob-ombs. You know what I'm talking about? It's kind of similar to that. So I'm excited for the mouse mini games, although I think out of every Switch 2 edition announced, or really just every Switch 2 game announced, this is one that really is going under the radar for a lot of people, but also will end up being one of the best-selling ones, right? Mario Party Jamboree has been an absolute sales juggernaut, and this will just breathe some more life into it. And I know there's a lot of people that, obsessively play Mario Party, right? There are people with hundreds of hours in each Mario Party, so this will just give them some more content to look forward to as well. So I'll be checking it out. I'll do some videos on it when it releases, but it has kind of just been well, it's Mario Party. It's also releasing a week after Donkey Kong, so that also I think is overshadowing it a little bit. They did reveal something a little weird though. So Nintendo Switch 2 has this new game share thing that is basically just Nintendo DS download play, but they're bringing it back, where if you own a copy of Mario Party Jamboree on Switch 2, you can game share it with up to 3 other friends, and they don't need to own the game to play it. We're seeing this added to a lot of old Switch 1 games. We're seeing it in a lot of new Switch 2 games. However, for Mario Party Jamboree, you can only play on one board. So it's an interesting way to limit that content. It's a little frustrating. I mean, this wasn't an option before, so it's still better than what we had, but also to basically limit it to a demo-like experience when one person does own the game is weird, because if you're playing actually locally, you only need to buy one copy of the game, and then the 3 other people are playing off of your copy of the game. So why are they limiting it to one board? I don't know what's going on there. I'm not sure if I'll even be using Game Share that often. But yeah, Mario Party Jamboree TV, I am interested in trying out the mouse mode mini games, but other than that, I feel like this release is definitely on the less exciting side of things for Switch 2. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you excited for the new Jamboree TV expansion, the camera mini games, the mouse mini games, and of course there are those new modes for the core Mario Party experience as well, which is nice. I do like that 2v2 mode. Real quick update on the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet patches for you here. So we've heard a little bit about what they're going to do, but we have a little bit more information on what these patches will do. Unfortunately, I think we're going to be waiting until June 5th to really see what Nintendo is changing and what Game Freak is changing with the patches for these games, but also every other Switch 1 game getting a patch. So on the Nintendo website here, they talk a lot about Legend ZA, and at the very bottom of this page, if you scroll all the way down, there's a little bit of a nugget of information regarding these patches. So we have the 2 screenshots we've seen before, but they say here, quotes, "You can now see Pokemon from further away, making them look even more vivid," which we can tell in the screenshots. There's more Pokemon on screen at once. "With improved frame rates and other features, the movement is smoother, allowing you to enjoy your adventure comfortably. So be sure to update and experience the world of Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch 2 before anything else." So they're really highlighting the amount of Pokemon on screen and that they can be further away without popping out of existence, but also improve frame rates and other features. I'm curious what other features is. What does that mean? I wish Nintendo and Game Freak, I wish they were just transparent about like this is exactly what we're doing. But maybe they don't want to commit to saying, "Oh, it's going to be 60 FPS on Switch 2." I'm not sure. This is one I'm very excited to pop in on June 5th though and just see how it runs. I want to see it because the screenshots do look a bit better. I mean, it still looks like Scarlet and Violet, which isn't exactly the highest bar, but this does look better than it did on Switch 1. I'm just curious to see how that frame rate actually holds up for these versions. Next up, let's talk a little bit about the 3 Nintendo apps and their updates. So Nintendo Today was updated to version 1.1.0, and they actually changed a couple of things here. Most notably, you can link it with your calendar app on your phone. You can set favorites and bookmarks on certain stories or different items in the app, and you can also zoom in on images. Nintendo Music was similarly updated here to version 1.2.0, where they added extend to settings for entire playlists. You can set durations to 5 or 10 minutes, as well as a sleep timer feature. They say that with it, you can set the time you want playback to stop. So if you want to like put some music on before you go to sleep, have it automatically stop. That is pretty nice. But most importantly, we had the Nintendo Switch app update. This is formerly the Nintendo Switch Online app. They rebranded it to the Nintendo Switch app, and it is so much better than it used to be. And I'm actually really excited to see the future of this. I hope Nintendo keeps adding to it. Maybe eventually they get support for the eShop so you can buy games and download and manage your software from the app. But now you can actually add friends through this app. You can accept friend requests through it. And with the Switch 2, you're going to be able to take screenshots on your Switch 2 and they will automatically be uploaded to the app. This is how PlayStation and Xbox have done it for years. Now you're finally going to be able to properly access your Switch screenshots on a mobile app, which is going to be so nice, especially since Twitter integration was removed a long time ago. This is going to make taking screenshots on Switch 2 feel a lot more substantial for me. I'll actually have an easy way to access them. And also just, being able to add friends this way. There's QR code support as well. You still have all your different little game-specific services. They added Zelda notes on there for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Like I said, I hope that they, one day down the line, maybe add a Nintendo store on here, the eShop, so you can buy games and manage software that way. On the PlayStation app, you can even go as far as to managing your software and like deleting stuff from the app to make space and then download games from there. So I hope we see that eventually for this, but this is such an improvement over the original app. I never used the Nintendo Switch Online app before, but this I actually will. You also get like play invites and stuff from friends, and if a friend adds you, you get like a little notification. So this is a huge improvement. All right, we have a lot of third-party stuff to talk about. Most notably, perhaps, depending on what types of games you like, a new Nintendo Switch 2 game was announced, and it's Farming Simulator Signature Edition. So this is coming out later this winter from Giants Software. They say it's based on Farming Simulator 2025, which is the latest main entry in the series. But it's still weird to me that, like, the Switch 2 is getting a bespoke version that is not just why not just do Farming Simulator 2025? Or I guess it'd be 2026 later this year. Seems a little weird to me, but hey, if you're a Farming Sim fan, you will be getting Farming Sim Signature Edition on Switch 2 later this year. We also had this little gameplay clip of Puyo Tetris 2S, revealing a new mode or feature, I guess we should say, of the Switch 2 version, where you can put your camera, using the Switch 2 camera, you can put that behind the game board so you can look at yourself or your friends while you're playing Tetris and Puyo. Weird update, but you know what? More stuff using the camera. I guess it's nice to see more games supporting it, but really random. We did finally get a new trailer for Fast Fusion on Nintendo Switch. This is that new fast racing game from Shinin. It is a launch title for the Switch 2. It is exclusive. They're doing all the right things. It's really cheap, $15 or promising post-launch supports, 4K 60. I think they're talking about a 120 mode down the line. It looks really good. I still feel like it's weird how little they are showing of it though, so it does have me a little like, I'm not skeptical of this game. I know it's gonna be a lot of fun, but it's weird. Like, why not just do like a 3-minute trailer? I don't know. I guess you kind of just know what you're getting into with this. If you've played any of their other games, it's more fast racing. They're not necessarily reinventing the wheel here. It just looks really good. It is on Switch 2. So Fast Fusion, that is a launch title I'm pretty excited for. And, I'll definitely be checking this out on launch day and streaming it and doing a video over on the second channel for it. So Fast Fusion, let me know if you're interested in checking this out in the comments down below. We also had an entirely new mode revealed for Kunitsu-Gami Path of the Goddess. This is that strategy game from Capcom from a year or two ago, on PlayStation and Xbox. It's now coming to Switch 2. This new mode will also be added to those versions as well as a free update, but we're getting a new survival mode here. This article here says it is called Otherworldly Venture. This essentially functions as a survival mode where you must withstand 2 waves of enemies before progressing to the next area. You can earn rewards as you progress with 5 different random options to choose from. These can range from a certain amount of crystals used to set up traps and transform units, to temporary buffs and new abilities for So, among others. Make sure to keep an eye on Yoshiro's health bar, that's the goddess that you are escorting, because if she dies, it's game over, and you have to start again from scratch. Contrary to the base game, she doesn't move. Where she spawns is where she'll remain, and you have to prepare defenses based on that position. You successfully complete the mode when you reach a particular stage, and then you can start again trying new strategies and attempting to reach higher scores. So I actually think this sounds pretty cool. From what I've played of Kunitsu-Gami, I really liked it, and I'm excited to get back to it on Switch 2 and play through the entirety of the story, but this is nice post-launch content, right? This is a nice kind of endless thing for people that really like the game. I'll be curious to see if they add trophies and stuff like that on PlayStation just for this mode, but a little roguelike-esque mode. I don't know if it's roguelike necessarily, because it doesn't really sound like you're getting upgrades that, persist, although you would be getting those through the story, so maybe there's upgrades and stuff. I mean, it says that you unlock rewards. I wonder what those are. But yeah, I think this is a launch title that people are kind of sleeping on. It is digital only here in America. There is a game key card release in Japan, but if this looks interesting to you, definitely check it out. It's cool to see Capcom doing weird new IP like this. And then the final story I wanted to discuss today is that of Persona 4 Remake, as 2 voice actors have essentially confirmed that not only is it in development, but also that they have not been cast in the game, and they're really upset about it, and they're voicing those frustrations on social media. So, reading from Eurogamer here, they say, Persona 4 voice actor confirms a remake is in development after not being cast, and then update, another actor confirmed that they're also not involved. So originally, Yuri Lowenthal, the original voice actor for Yosuke in Persona 4, he said on Blue Sky, and for those who keep asking, no, I will not be returning as Yosuke for the Persona 4 remake. I asked, maybe I even begged, but they don't want me to come back. Now, Yuri Lowenthal, he's a real big-time video game voice actor. He does a lot of stuff. He's Spider-Man in the Insomniac Spider-Man games. So for him to go on Blue Sky, this person who definitely understands NDAs and stuff, for him to go on and just talk about Persona 4 Remake like this, something that he would certainly know about if it was happening, because he should have been close to the project. For him to go on Blue Sky and just talk about how he begged to go back to the project, but they don't want him back, is, it's not a good look for Atlus. I'll certainly say that. Maybe he wanted too much money and they couldn't afford that. I don't know. That doesn't sound right to me. I think they redid the casting for Persona 3 Reload, but we've talked a lot about Persona 4 Remake, and through this drama here, we'll say, we now know with near certainty that it's happening, and I would expect it to be announced at SGF or at the Xbox events just next week. And then similar thing for Erin Fitzgerald, the voice actress for, I think it's pronounced Chie, Satonaka in Persona. She was also not asked to reprise her role for that character. So we have 2 of the main cast in Persona 4 openly talking about Persona 4 Remake and how they specifically were not cast for it, and that they were trying to be cast for it by Atlus. So this remake's happening. It's unfortunate they couldn't work something out and get the original voice cast in the game. That is a really weird thing. Like, they clearly are passionate about it. These people want to be in Persona. So I feel like it must come down to a money thing. But regardless, through this, we do know with near certainty that Persona 4 Remake is happening, and I do expect this to be on Switch 2. Maybe not day and date. Atlus is weird. Persona 3 Reload, I feel like, still should have been on Switch 1 even, so maybe it'll take a little bit of time, but eventually you can expect Persona 4 Remake to come to Switch 2, just maybe not at the exact same time as the other platforms. So that is going to do it for today's video. Very exciting stuff. Like I said earlier, we are 1 week away. It's so crazy that we're only a week away from this console. We're seeing all these posts of people getting it into their store back rooms, but also, I mean, we're starting to see people actually get their hands on the console and open it up. We saw yesterday, I can't show it, but there was a clip of the boot up screen for the Switch 2, and there's this cute little animation and jingle that plays when you turn it on for the first time. So stuff like that, man, like we are there, and it's just so exciting to see all these little small tidbits leading up to the release. But Let me know what you think of all of these stories we discussed in the comments down below. Do you think Nintendo will have a presence at SGF? How do you feel about the new Mario Party Jamboree overview trailer? What are you expecting from the Scarlet and Violet patches? How do you feel about the new Switch app updates? I'm really happy about the Nintendo Switch app update for friends and, screenshots and that kind of thing. And then are you excited for any of the third-party games we discussed in today's video? It's tough being a Nintendo YouTuber because I think a lot of people only really care about the Nintendo things, which is fair. That's totally valid. However, with the Switch 2, especially with how much third-party stuff is there, I definitely want to try to cover as much third-party things as I can, especially when a lot of those things are launch titles. Kunitsu-Gami, Puyo, Tetris, Fast Fusion. These are all launch titles that I'm pretty excited for to varying degrees. Puyo, Tetris 2S isn't the most exciting thing in the world, but I still want to cover those things and, give them their due time on the video and kind of talk about them whenever they are doing cool things. But of course, as always, you can subscribe here for more Nintendo Switch 2 news and coverage. Follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames. Check out my other Nintendo channel at It's Vivo. I'm also posting daily videos over there right now, so definitely check that out. And as always, you can click on one of the 2 videos on screen to listen to me ramble about even more Nintendo stuff. Until next time, folks, peace.